Thank you for joining the JAF on Tech podcast series. And this is where we talk about technology, artificial intelligence, policy, and the implications of the ever-changing world of information security. If you can leave a comment, a like, or subscribe, it would mean the world to us, especially the humans.
You know, of all the talks I sat through at that tech conference, the one on secure data storage really stuck with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with all the buzz around, the EU's e-privacy directive.
Right. Making sure all our communication stays private.
Exactly. Our emails, texts, the whole shebang. It just got me thinking about how much this stuff impacts us every day. And I thought, why not unpack it a bit, See how companies are going about making our data storage basically impenetrable.
Makes sense. It's a hot topic.
Totally. So I jotted down some notes during the talk, and one thing that really jumped out was leadership. Like, it's not just an IT thing anymore. It's got to be a whole culture of security.
Absolutely. That's a huge shift we're seeing. And for good reason.
Have you noticed that too?
Oh, absolutely. It's like building a house, right? You need that solid foundation. If leadership isn't prioritizing data security from the get-go, then everything else is just, well, it's like playing catch-up.
Makes total sense. And it's not a set it and forget it kind of deal either, is it?
No, not at all. Technology changes so fast, there are always new threats popping up.
Exactly. I mean, this expert even touched on AI-powered cyber attacks.
Wow.
Yeah, and it sounds like a whole different ballgame. So how can leaders even try to stay ahead of something like that?
Well, it's a constant learning curve. They have to stay informed, understand the newest threats, the latest technology. It's not enough to just react anymore. They have to be proactive.
Anticipate what's coming next.
Exactly.
That's a really good point. Okay, so we've talked about leadership, but what about the people who are actually building these secure systems? What about the engineers?
Engineers are the backbone of this whole thing, right? They're the ones designing and building the systems that keep our data safe. And there's some really fascinating stuff happening on that front, like homomorphic encryption, where you can actually process data while it's still encrypted.
Oh, hold on, homomorphic encryption. That sounds incredibly complicated.
It is. It's really complex, but it could be revolutionary for data security.
I can imagine. It seems like one tiny error in the code could have huge consequences.
Oh, absolutely. Secure coding is paramount. Even a small vulnerability can be exploited. It's like leaving a side door unlocked. Doesn't matter how strong the rest of your defenses are.
It's like that saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got leadership setting the vision, engineers building the systems, but then how do we make sure those systems are actually holding up?
That's where our data analysts come in. They're like detectives, constantly monitoring for anything suspicious.
Right.
It's not just about reacting after a breach, but actively searching for weaknesses and anticipating those attacks before they happen.
So they're kind of like the eyes and ears, making sure everything runs smoothly. One thing I found interesting was the need for really good communication between analysts and everyone else.
Oh, that's crucial. Analysts need to be able to translate those complex technical findings into something actionable, something everyone understands. If they can't communicate a threat effectively, it doesn't matter how good they are at identifying it.
Right, like a doctor who can diagnose an illness but can't explain it to the patient in a way they understand. Okay, so we've got leadership, engineering, analysis. What about making sure everyone's actually playing by the rules, especially with something as important as, the e-privacy directive?
That's where our auditors come in. They're that independent check, making sure companies are sticking to regulations and best practices. It's all about accountability and trust, showing users that their data is being handled responsibly.
So it sounds like their role is as much about preventing problems as it is about catching them.
Exactly. Regular audits can actually help organizations find and fix vulnerabilities before they become big issues.
Interesting. So what I'm gathering from all of this is that secure data storage isn't just about having the best tech or the strictest rules. It's about having a more well-rounded approach.
I think that's a great way to put it. It has to be a team effort.
It takes leadership, engineering, analysis, and auditing all working together.
Absolutely. It's about making security part of the DNA of an organization at every level, and that's what ultimately benefits everyone.
It really makes you think, where is all my data stored? And who has access to it?
It's a question we should all be asking.
Definitely something to ponder. Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive.
Uh-huh.
Until next time.